guys. Thanks for coming along for another adventure, and man, do I have an adventure for you today. This is something I have wanted to show you for years. Who is this man I'm looking at? Well, that's my great-great-great-grandfather, John Eddingfield. He was born all the way back in 1841 and died in 1924. As you can tell from that hat he's wearing, he served in the Civil War for the Union, and he left us some things to talk about and discuss. Some really awesome pieces of history. So we're going to talk about all of these things, and guys, there's some mysteries to uncover. One big mystery that I'll address right off the bat has to do with the family legend that John Eddingfield stood guard during his time of service with this musket over the body of Abraham Lincoln while it lay in state in Chicago after his assassination. We're going to get to the bottom of that. And I really thought when I started filming that was the only mystery that I had for you. But you see this case right here? I've never taken the glass out of it before. In the years that I've had it, I've never taken the glass out. This case was built by my grandfather from some wood from the family farm. The musket I was aware of, I remember him showing me the musket when I was a little boy, letting me hold it. I remember it being so heavy. But all the rest of this stuff, man, I didn't see it, and I didn't know it existed until one day a few years ago, he delivered this case to me. And it is something that I look at every single day and appreciate. But I didn't know there were some hidden mysteries buried inside this case. Wasn't expecting that. You might be wondering about this little piece. This is a Native American beaded purse, and I'm going to tell you why it's in this case. And it's a good story, but I have had an itch that I've wanted to scratch for years, and that was to do two things. One, take that out of the way so I could see that beadwork fully, and secondly, of course, was to open that purse up. But I didn't expect there to be something inside of it. Now, is that just a piece of cardstock my grandfather stuffed down in there to help it retain shape? Or is that a little bit more of the history of this purse? I haven't taken it out yet. I don't have a clue what that piece of paper is. We're going to do that together. That is a cool mystery, but it is nothing in comparison to what I just discovered a few minutes ago. You may be wondering why this picture is out of the case and somewhat disassembled. Well, I'll tell you that. You're not going to believe what I found. I was trying to determine what type of photograph that is. It's very odd. It's just his head and shoulders. And in some ways, it doesn't even look like a photograph to me. And I was trying to determine, is that a daguerreotype? And nothing looked right. You look at photos like this, and they're very different. So I tried to figure out what this was, and I thought the only way I could do it was maybe by taking it apart very carefully. Now, if you look at the case, it says daguerreotype cases. But that doesn't mean that that is a daguerreotype. Daguerreotype cases were really popular, and they put all sorts of photographs inside of these cases. Now, obviously, we know just based on the picture there that it's probably Civil War time frame, but I wanted to know what the process was for gathering that image. And that's when I just got the shock of my life. This is the back, and you can tell it's got a piece of glass in it, and just very thin foil held it all together. So guys, I just took this apart, and I'm going to redo this process. I'm still shaking. So I see this, and I realize it's just a slip of paper. And this is just crazy. check out what's underneath. Are you kidding me? I have never seen that photograph before in my entire life. And I don't have a clue who that is. It doesn't even look like the same guy, but the only thing that thinks maybe it are them ears. Look at them ears. He got a set of ears on him, don't he? And there's some ears too. It may be him. But if not, I mean, who would that possibly be? Look at the condition of that thing. So this is an ambrotype photo. This is a calling card. I actually figured out what this is. This is a calling card. And look what's on the back of it. Oh, come on now, focus. See if we can get it in here. There we go. The remains of a 2-cent stamp. And that piece of paper, which I am dying to know what's underneath of it, but I don't have any sort of bravery to try to remove it. I don't think. Isn't that incredible? And it is to me. Can you imagine all these years? I'm pretty sure my grandfather doesn't know that that photograph existed. I'm blown away. My goodness. I just keep looking at it. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of not talking, but absolutely shocked to see that. And it's so well preserved. I don't think it's hardly ever been shown before. It's like the day it was taken. Look at that. Well, I have no idea what I'm dealing with, and I don't want to damage anything. So I'm probably going to put a pair of gloves on. Probably should have already done that. But I just had to share that with you. I'm going to cover that photo up and do some more research into how to protect and maybe display that one too. Well, I honestly had to take a minute and get myself calmed down after making that find behind that picture right there. So here's what I think I'm going to do. Since I got some unexpected mysteries, it means I need a little bit more time for more footage. And we're going to do a second video. But before we do that, we are going to find out what's in that purse. But I wanted to show you just a couple other pictures. So there is another photo of John Eddingfield, and once again, hidden behind that hair are those ears. I'm really thinking this is the same picture, the same guy, my great-great-great-grandfather. But what about this one? Now, this is kind of funny. For a long time, I thought this was yet another photograph of John Eddingfield until I took a picture and kind of digitally enhanced it and realized that's a woman. That is my grandmother, I believe, Lydia Catherine Polk. I can only imagine that's why those two photographs would be together. She was born May 24th, 1839 and died September 20th, 1919. But as for the time frame of this photograph, well, that's a lot easier to determine. Look at the iconography on that frame. We got drums, cannons, and flags. And if you look very closely, there's something written at the bottom. The Union now and forever. Absolutely, probably taken 1861 to 1865 at some point, I would say. Very common to have these type of photographs taken as kind of a patriotic duty, and these small photographs, they were extremely popular. It wasn't just a soldier's thing. You went to any sort of event and these photographers would be there taking pictures, and kind of the same story with the calling card. That came over from France, and that got really popular, and it was just a very cheap way to get your picture done on some paper, and you could mail that. That's probably why there's a stamp on the back, to family and friends. One more picture to show you before we get to that Native American beaded purse, and here is a picture of the 24th Battery, Ohio Volunteer Artillery. I have searched and searched and searched the faces of this photograph, looking for somebody that looks like John Eddingfield. And I've about given up hope that I'm going to spot him in there. And based off of what we've just seen, man, guy's appearance can change over time. But he's in there somewhere. I love the blurred horses in the background. These photographs took so long to develop. You had to just freeze in place for a long period of time. And apparently the horses didn't want to cooperate. So you got some blurred horses there in the background. I've also hoped to, by studying the buildings, to maybe figure out where that photograph was taken. Probably Camp Dennison. That's where they enlisted. Perhaps it's there. But he was at several other locations. But that is all coming up in the next video. All right, let's see what is in this purse. All right. It feels like paper, not cardstock. That sucker is stuck in there. There we go. We got writing. It doesn't look like my grandfather's writing, though. Come on. I don't recognize the initials. All right, what do we have? When grandfather Eddingfield, So grandfather, this would be my great grandfather. No, this would be my great grandmother. That's KSW, that's Catherine Sanders Williams. This is my great grandmother. When grandfather Eddingfield was in camp at Sandusky, he was quite ill. An Indian squaw, you'll have to apologize the language. I know that is not an appropriate term these days, but long ago it was used. An Indian squaw nursed him and gave him this bead purse, which she had made. Okay. Well, that's cool. So what does that give me that I didn't know? It gives me a location in camp at Sandusky. So it'll be interesting. I know of 3 locations that he was stationed. And I don't remember Sandusky, but maybe one of the camps was located at Sandusky, Ohio. And the other piece of information that I have that I've always wondered about, because you look, it's fabric, and I know it's 1860s. I'm not expecting it to be made out of leather or anything, but I wondered if it was actually handmade by the woman that had given it to him, or whether it was maybe something she had purchased. But it appears that it is indeed handmade by her, which that makes it even more special to me. And boy, doesn't it just make you wonder about the story behind that. The Hollywood version, which is often played through my mind, would be that she was some young, beautiful woman and he was a young, healthy man, and there was some sort of interest there. But you know the truth sometimes isn't like Hollywood. Maybe she was just a nice old lady. But you know what? He kept that purse, so it meant something to him. Well, guys, I hope you have enjoyed going through this as much as I have. I can't repeat how shocked I am. I have looked at this a million times and never dreamed that these things were hidden inside this. I'm sure my grandfather knew about the note. He had to have seen that. I will be very surprised if he knew that there was a hidden photograph and he didn't tell me about it. That just made my year. You realize that's probably the best Civil War find I will ever make. I mean, come on, how many people get to find a Civil War photo that's not been seen in who knows how long? Probably the best Civil War find I'll ever make, and it was hiding right under my nose the entire time. Guys, video number 2 is coming up. We are going to take a closer look at this 1862 Tower musket. We're going to figure out, if we can, what in the world is stamped on the butt. I'm not sure yet. And we're going to talk about whether or not John Eddingfield stood guard over Lincoln's body. Coming up in video number 2.